My name is Mick. Welcome back to my channel and happy Bookmas. So today, as I know you know, we are going to be baking and answering some bookish questions, which I am so excited about. But I do want to say, first and foremost, I am not really a baker or a cooker. I'm actually subpar at both. Baking is worse though. I just don't have whatever gene makes people good at baking. I don't have it. It missed me. I don't have it. I literally follow recipes to a T, and then I try them or serve them and people are like, it's never like, wow, this is so good. So that being said, I do have to follow recipes and I do have to kind of pay attention. So I'm thinking this is gonna be a learning experience for everyone involved because I've never done a video like this before. It's gonna be a learning experience. We're gonna see how much I can multitask. But to be honest, this is not a very elaborate multi-step recipe. It's actually pretty easy. We're gonna be making Christmas crack today. If you've never had it, you must try. It's so good. If you're a toffee person, I'm talking to you. I'm gonna get all set up and then we're gonna see how much question answering I can do as I'm baking. But I have a feeling we might be doing a relaxing baking montage and then cutting to answering questions while it's in the oven. We'll find out together. With that being said, let's get baking. I started this whole thing and I already laid out my saltines and then I realized I never even said specifically what it is that we're making. So Christmas crack, if you're unfamiliar, is literally just saltines covered in boiled butter and sugar, make like a toffee type consistency, and then melted chocolate spread on top. Then you refrigerate it to let it set. Oh, and I'm gonna put pretzels on top as well. And then once it's hardened, you crack it off into little pieces. It's like little bar and it's like salty and sweet and it's so good, and it's called Christmas crack because me realizing this is probably not acceptable, but it's because you'll eat a lot of it. So anyways, let me get my pot. Is this a saucepan? If anyone was wondering, this is a saucepan. I'm going to melt my butter and brown sugar in here. I'm gonna cook this really quick. We're gonna pour it over the saltines, and then once that's underway, I'm gonna start answering some questions. While that's in the oven for the next 4 minutes, let's look at some of these questions. First things first, what's your favorite bookish childhood memory? That's really cute. Okay, that kind of goes hand in hand. Somebody else asked what book sparked your love for reading. So those kind of go hand in hand, I feel like, because when I was really little, I don't know how I initially discovered reading when I was younger, but my grandma was a huge reader. She would always read before bed. And so anytime I'd go visit her and stay with her, we would go to Half Price Books, the flagship Half Price Books in Dallas by her house. And she would buy me one of whatever I wanted, and I was so obsessed with Percy Jackson, Nancy Drew, and then I keep wanting to say the Bard and Bella's Pitch Perfect, but that is just simply not correct. So it's like Bellatrix, Bella, but it was like Nancy Drew, like young girl solving mysteries, but she rode horses, and I was a bit of a horse girl in elementary school, so I was addicted to all 3 of those series, and I feel like that's the bulk of what I read when I was younger. So when I was little, I would definitely say Percy Jackson and Nancy Drew were like the cream of the crop and like really sparked my love of reading as a kid. And my favorite bookish memory is going to Half Price Books with my grandma because it was just something that we really connected over, and it was something special that just the 2 of us did. So I always feel so nostalgic when I go to Half Price Books as an adult, specifically that one I used to go to with my grandma. It's just such a happy place. A bookstore is really such a happy place. Also specifically related to bookish memories. When I would sleep over at my grandparents' house, before bedtime, they would let me come up and lay in their bed in between them while they both read their own books, and I got to read my book in between them. And I really feel like that's what made me excited about reading, was like feeling like it was something that the cool grown-ups that I idolized did. So yeah, just a lot of really cute stuff related to my grandparents when I think about reading as a kid. I feel like in terms of like what sparked my love for reading again as an adult, one of the first ones that I read when I was getting back into reading was 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I really liked, and I kind of almost wonder if I would like it more now, like as my taste has evolved, but I wasn't like super obsessed with it. But shortly after, I think like a couple months later, I read Beach Read by Emily Family Henry and loved it, but I felt weird about loving it so much because I wasn't super well versed in like the romance genre, and at the time I kind of felt like it was silly to have loved it as much as I did. So I like downplayed it a lot at the time, but I loved it so much, and that was like my reintroduction to the world of reading as an adult, and it was so good. It was so good. Who is your ideal book boyfriend from a book you've read? That is, I literally have the memory of a goldfish. Oh, let's hold that thought. Can you see how bubbly that is? Okay. While we let this cool, which we're supposed to do for just a little bit so that it will not be so liquidy, it's supposed to like caramelize basically and turn into the hard toffee base. Love her. I'm gonna let it harden, and then I'm going to throw some chocolate chips on top and crumble up some pretzels as well. We have to let it harden first. So circling back to book boyfriend, that's like, I have the memory of a goldfish specifically when it comes to the love interests of any book that I've ever read, which is like maybe says something in and of itself. I only really remember the ones that I don't like what's his face, Colin Bridgerton in romancing Mr. whatever the Penelope one is. Really can't stand Colin Bridgerton, or the guy in A Not So Meet Cute. See, I can really easily call to mind the men in these books that I was supposed to be obsessed with that I wasn't, but in terms of like what book boyfriend would be right for me, that's really hard. In real life, I wouldn't be able to handle the broody, you know? Quiet, broody, reserved, moody, etc. Like sunshine only for me. I don't think I could handle that. I don't really do well with grumpy people in general, because then I feel like I'm working overtime, you know, to like make sure everyone's having a good time. I don't want that. It's a really hard one for me. It's interesting that I've never really thought about it before. I remember really liking Owen. I don't remember how you said his name from 7 Year Slip, just because he was very kind, he was very funny, he was very open with how he was feeling and the fact that he wanted to pursue her. Really like a loyal, honest, open, communicative king. We love that. Okay, also, what was the guy's name in Love Theoretically? Whatever Mr. Love Theoretically man's name was, I liked him until I didn't. I liked that he was, again, open, communicative. He was pursuing her. He wanted to make sure that she was okay. Almost maybe to like a fault though. See, I don't think I'd want to be with him. I don't know. I'm really gonna have to think on this now. Oh, you know who else actually? Miles. Miles from Funny Story. Oh, I might have to go Miles actually, now that I'm thinking about it. I feel like just someone that is not broody, moody, grumpy. Somebody that meets you where you're at, brings up the energy. Oh, I don't know. I feel like I just spouted out every single guy I could think of from a romance book because I don't have an answer for this. What this is telling me is I need to read a romance book that makes me obsessed because I love the boyfriend. I feel like for me, I'm always more about the story than the boyfriend. So maybe this is telling me I need to pay attention so I can have a better answer next time somebody asks me this. Ooh, okay. See, okay, I like this one. If you could turn any book into a movie that hasn't already been turned into one, which book would it be and why? That is so easy because I've actually thought about this multiple times. And the answer is 7 Year Slip. My favorite movie of all time is About Time, which is a time travel romance. It's just magical realism. It's never really explained what's going on. The time travel is just part of the plot, part of the story. And I love it so much. So I can so see 7 Year Slip working in that same way. And I want someone to do it. Or I'll do it. If y'all want me to write the screenplay for 7 Year Slip movie edition, I'll do it. I'm gonna answer one more question and then we're gonna do the chocolate chips. What genre would you want to read for a whole month? I don't know. I think I would maybe go lit fic. I think I would maybe go literary fiction because you can cover all your bases in there, obviously. You can find romance subplots. You can get every subgenre imaginable. You could do magical realism. You could get some fantasy elements. You could get some dystopia. The world is really your oyster in lit fic, so I might go lit fic. I'm getting more and more into it. I've been afraid, but I think I'm more excited about reading more. I think I would go lit fic. That feels crazy. Okay, but if we're not doing the easy answer, if we're not doing lit fic, because that feels kind of like a cop-out, I would say mystery thriller if I wasn't gonna go lit fic, because again, there are some that are really unsettling, really disturbing, some that are really intricate, really interesting, some that have really strong character work, some that have really good romance subplots. And one thing about me is I could binge mystery / procedural shows every day for the rest of my life. I've watched basically every single one known to man. So honestly, if we're being honest, I think I could lock into mystery thriller for a whole month, literally no questions asked. Maybe I'll do it one of these days, who knows? Okay, let's go ahead and put the chocolate chips on before it gets too cool. I feel like I need more chocolate. I'm gonna do a little bit more. While that melts for a second, let's do another question. Okay. Oh no. Favorite and least favorite book you've ever read? I don't know, as a matter of fact, what my favorite book is, which am I alone in that? I don't know. It's so hard for me to pick favorites. Like the fact that I have a favorite movie is so interesting because it's very difficult for me to like be like, yes, this is the one thing that I like above all else, because I'm incredibly indecisive, if you can't tell from the questions I've already answered thus far. Least favorite book I've ever read. Let me look at my Goodreads. Let me look at the books I've read so I can tell you the ones that I didn't like. Oh, okay, one of them. I read this, I think in high school, 99 Days by Katie Katungo. It has the cheating trope, and I think she ends up with the guy's brother. I know everyone still remembers everything. How I destroyed my relationship with Patrick and the night everything happened with his brother Gabe. Hated it the whole time, hated every single character. It was not good. It was really, truly just not good. I know reading is so subjective, but me personally did not like it. Did not like that at all. And what's funny is the way that I found it is I sorted the average rating of the books on my read shelf. Reverse order, and it was first. So yeah, it has a 3.31 on Goodreads. I'd say that's my least favorite book I've ever read. Favorite, anything on my favorite shelf. I will come back to you the day that I have an actual favorite. Right now, I don't quite have one. You know, I'm not built for that, I fear. Because they're all so different and they offer such different things. I could go top 5. I think I would say top 5 are 7 Year Slip, Secret History, Us Against You, or Anxious People. One of those two for Bachman. Happy Place, maybe. I need to reread all of Emily Henry's books and decide where I land on my favorite, but I think as of right now, Happy Place is my favorite of hers. And then either House in the Cerulean Sea or Carrie Soto for 5th. I'm all over the place. That was a terrible answer to your question. I'm gonna finish smoothing out this chocolate, sprinkle some pretzels on there, and then we're gonna pop her in the freezer for a bit to set, and I can finish out the questions without having to pause every 2 seconds. So let's go ahead and do that right now. I put some pretzels in this little bowl and I'm going to muddle them like for a cocktail. This is literally to do a little bit of a like pressing this in to make sure that it's actually gonna stay, but I don't want to get chocolate all over my hands, so in the chocolate as much as possible. I'm hosting a cooking show. Would you guys watch if I hosted a cooking show? Okay, and then lastly, I'm just gonna look and see. I might have some sprinkles. Mermaid has rainbow sprinkles, or I have white shimmer sugar, which I might do. I think I'm gonna do white shimmer sugar, be festive, and hope that it sticks, like it's still wet enough to stick. We'll find out. Okay, I'm gonna put her in the freezer to set while we finish up the questions, so let me get her in there real quick. Okay, I have a few more. I'm gonna try and go faster because I feel like I'm taking 10 minutes to answer each question, so. What is your favorite trope? I would say my top 2. Like, I love a good like forced proximity. I love a good arranged marriage. I love a good fake dating, blah, blah, blah. My main 2 for sure are found family. I love anything with found family in it. That's my bread and butter. I love found family. And then slow burn. If we're gonna have any trope or romance that I'm gonna love, it's gonna be slow burn. I don't need the man to start simping around 1/4 of the way through. In fact, I would rather him not have feelings until 75%. Or rather, I would rather him not have voiced his feelings until at least 75%. That's where I stand. If you have any good slow burn recs, let me know, because I would like to read more. Okay, what's your bookish hot take? My hot take is that, actually, you know what? I don't know if this is a hot take, but I just feel like, I know that this opinion differs from some people. I just don't know if it differs from like the norm with a capital N, you know? But it is, I actually am so good without the epilogue. I don't need an epilogue that lays out the happily ever after piece by piece. I actually don't want to know. I don't want to know if 5 years from now they're pregnant and every single person that was in the story is happily coupled up or in their dream job or whatever. I like endings that have a bit of ambiguity to them. Leave it open-ended for your brain to kind of like fill in the blanks in terms of like how things continue to unfold for them, because it just oftentimes feels like forced to me, or like it kind of ruins the magic of like the experience of seeing them get to where they are. Do you know what I mean? Because then we just like jump forward and we get a happily ever after, and I don't really need that. I don't mind an epilogue that ties up like 1 or 2 loose ends that needed to be tied up, and I don't mind an epilogue that is still ambiguous but like just shows us one scene from the future. I don't mind that. But in terms of the ones that are like sunshine, rainbows, everything wrapped in a bow, not my cup of tea. Truly not my cup of tea. I actually usually don't read them. So, least favorite book you've read this year? I don't know, I would have to go back through my Goodreads, but off the top of my head, I think because I was talking about it earlier, I really didn't like, I think it's Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, the Penelope Collin love story. I also, in terms of the books that I've started and finished this year, I'm trying to think if there was any other books that I like actively did not want to be reading as I was finishing them. I didn't like The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I don't know if I would say that that was my least favorite, but I think I might have given it 2 stars, so I feel like it might have been. I would say those 2 are the first 2 that come to mind in terms of like baseline, didn't enjoy, didn't feel like they did what they intended to do for me as the reader. Okay, we have an FMK. I'm just gonna say F, Marry, Kill because it feels a bit vulgar in this context. F, Marry, Kill. Emily Henry's books, Abby Jimenez's books, or Allie Hazelwood's books. I think I would have to go F Allie Hazelwood, marry Emily Henry, and kill Abby Jimenez. Their books. Not the people. Love you girls. Love you girls. I think Abby and Allie's books are on like similar planes for me where I enjoy them, but they're not like all-time faves, obsessed, love in terms of the ones that I've read at least. But I think overall I have enjoyed Allie's more than Abby's. I think they're like, I think they just hit a little bit more for me because I feel like the writing style is pretty similar. But obviously I haven't read their entire backlist, so I'm not 100% sold on this, but I'm locking it in. I'm locking it in. What's your instant book ick and your instant book turn on? Okay, instant ick, easy. Alpha men. That is not my thing even a little bit. It really freaks me out. I don't like the idea of like a hyper masculine alpha, like controlling, and I just really don't like it. I DNF'd a not so meet cute earlier this year, a couple months ago, because that was what the love interest was giving. Like not like so in your face terribly, but his genre was alpha male. Hate that a lot. I really hate it. Also, low key, when the happily ever after involves getting pregnant. I'm pretty sure that's just because I have a fear of pregnancy personally, but I'm kind of like, why do we do that? It goes hand in hand with me liking the ending a little bit more ambiguous, you know? A little more open-ended than here's the pregnancy test, I'm pregnant. Anyways, instant book turn on. Something that like will instantly lock me in. I really think it's slow burn. I think when you can tell that the male love interest is so like, oh, okay, I have an answer. Obviously not to like the extreme extent, but like I like when there's something standing in the way of the love interest being able to tell the FMC or just the main character how they feel, because that means it's gonna be slow burn. That means it's gonna be really drawn out. So whether that's like there's some kind of like forbidden element to it, or there's some kind of like fake like lying or whatever, you know, like fake dating, or somebody is like undercover or something like that. That kind of thing where it's genuinely like they can't say it. Because like the thing is, the back and forth that can sometimes happen in a romance book where it's so obvious that one person is interested, and then in the FMC's head she's like, I don't know though, I think he might hate me. That pisses me off. But like if it's so clear to us as the readers, like there's something preventing that from coming to light right away, I'll be enjoying that. So. Okay, and then lastly, I have a question from my roommate. He said, why haven't you read A Little Life yet? I'm scared, babe. I'm so scared, okay? It's literally sitting on my bedside table because it's on my November TBR. Haven't touched it. Very scared. Keep seeing tweets about it. Had a TikTok about it the other day. I'm scared. So. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it for the questions. Thank you to everyone who sent a question in. I really appreciate it. I was really scared no one was gonna ask anything. So I really appreciate everyone that asked a question. I hope I screenshotted them, so I hope I got them all. I've never done like a Q&A situation before, and I really liked it actually. I feel like I like getting a little more chatty. Like this felt like a more casual chatty style vlog, even than like a normal reading vlog. It just felt a little more fluid and less structured. Sorry if I was a little chaotic with the baking of it all. I didn't know how that was gonna go. So we'll have to maybe reevaluate moving forward based on how this turns out, but I had a lot of fun. In about 2 minutes, I'm gonna take the Christmas crack out of the freezer and I'm gonna try it, and it's gonna be amazing. I'm really excited. Anyways, okay, I think that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you wanna stick around and watch me crack open the Christmas crack, you can, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, that's all from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and Merry Bookmas.